wá nílé lóko lẹ́yìn òdì mo kí wá ipá kúbó jẹ́ ọjọ́ ṣeré mo kí ẹ̀yin ìyá mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mo kí àbúrò èmi náà ni ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ yín very dark lady. Tó bá jẹ́ nígbà àkọ́kọ́ ni ẹ má gbàgbé láti bá wa tẹ like ó ṣe kókó ó ṣe pàtàkì. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ má gbàgbé láti bá wa fi comment sílẹ̀. Òun bá jẹ́ ẹ̀yin náà lè kí wa pé thank you. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni iṣẹ́ là ń ṣe. Bó jẹ́ thank you lásán ló lè type síbẹ̀ ara ẹ̀ náà ni, bó jẹ́ iṣẹ́ náà ni ara ẹ̀ náà ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ tá gbé wá lọ́jọ́ títí òní ẹ wá wo àwọn ọmọ yín àwọn ọmọ wa àwọn onílàákàyè tí Elédùmarè tó ti fọwọ́ tọ́ láyà. Ẹ wá gbọ́ nǹkan tán sọ. Ọmọ Yorùbá gidi ni wọ́n but èdè òyìnbó náà fi ṣe àgbéjọrò náà àgbépéjọrò la máa pè it's not debate. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni nípa nǹkan tí à ń sọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ mo mọ̀ wípé gbogbo wa la máa rí nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì tó ṣe kókó láti dìmú nínú ẹ̀. Ìwọ tó bá wò tán o ò lè mọ báwo ló ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀.
This is to the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Department of State Services (DSS), the National Intelligence Agency (NIA), Defense Intelligence Agency (DIA), the Nigerian Immigration Service, and other security agencies. Title: Protecting Cultural Identity, Community Safety, and Rule of Law. In recent years, many communities have expressed growing concern over the preservation of their cultural identity, the safety of their people, and the need for greater accountability in governance. These concerns deserve urgent attention from federal, state, and traditional institutions alike. At the heart of this issue is the need to ensure that all citizens, regardless of background, can maintain their traditions, languages, and cultural heritage without pressure, coercion, or misrepresentation. Cultural identity is a fundamental human right and must be protected within the framework of national unity and mutual respect. We also call attention to ongoing security challenges affecting local populations, including violence, displacement, and loss of livelihoods. It is critical that government agencies strengthen efforts to protect vulnerable communities, uphold the rule of law, and prevent the misuse of ideology or belief systems to justify harm. In this regard, we respectfully urge the government to work with credible religious scholars, educators, and community leaders to review how religious teachings are interpreted and communicated in public spaces. This includes ensuring that no teachings, whether from the Quran, Hadith, or any other religious or ideological source, are misused to promote violence, division, or unlawful activity. We further call on traditional rulers and community authorities to remain vigilant and proactive in safeguarding their communities. There is a growing concern that criminal or violent actors may attempt to disguise their intentions under religious or ideological narratives to gain trust or access to communities. Traditional institutions play a vital role in identifying such risks early, promoting peace, and ensuring that those who seek to exploit religion for harmful purposes are not given legitimacy or protection. We respectfully urge all stakeholders to 1. Investigate reports of violence and displacement affecting local communities, ensuring justice and accountability. 2. Promote cultural preservation policies that protect indigenous traditions, languages, and identities. 3. Encourage responsible religious education in partnership with recognized scholars and institutions to prevent misinterpretation or misuse of sacred texts. 4. Support interfaith and intercultural dialogue, fostering mutual understanding and peaceful coexistence. 5. Engage traditional rulers as key partners in community security, early warning systems, and peace building efforts. 6. Strengthen security and community protection measures in affected regions. This is not a call for division, but for unity grounded in fairness, truth, and respect for all. Sustainable peace can only be achieved when justice, cultural dignity, and human rights are upheld equally. We call on our leaders, governmental and traditional, to act decisively and responsibly in the interest of all citizens. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
I just really wanted to add to our definition of El Shaddai. It's not just it's not just breast. It is hand, breast, and nipples. In the etymology, it simply means a hand holding a breast and sucking it. That's what El Shaddai means. That's what I wanted to add first. So now, so secondly, the most important thing I will also want to add here from context and layer, because I like what you just said, Olaiwola, about people understanding their history, which is one of the reasons why I tell a lot of people that if you look at, let me put it this way, I mean, when I tell people I'm a Yoruba man, I tell that because from the core value of me saying that I'm Yoruba is because I understand the mistakes, the goods, the bad, and the goods of my ancestors. If we all understand what I mean. Olaiwola, there's a music from your background somehow. I think it's yours. Yeah, thank you. So one of the major things here, let me say, for example, now, if we look at what is being done to us in terms of colonization and the many effects of it, people like to take away a lot of things out of it, but there's a lot of effects that have rolled down to the extent that we all live in that loop, and unconsciously we allow it to happen. Like I always ask everybody, none of us was ever asked while we were growing up, do you want to be a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever? We're all taken to church, mosque, and in that way, we have created a continuous loop that has made our people somehow erased from exactly who they are. Today, many of our children are running away from their own words. I remember those days too, when you mention things like Aje, I wouldn't talk to you. Now, I tell people that instead of calling people Aje, call them what they are. In fact, even the white people that we watch their movies have white sorcerers and black sorcerers or dark sorcerers. But we sit down with just labeling Aje as something evil. That is a power given to every feminine person, even without any spiritualism attached to it. Women are born manipulators. They can manipulate you. And that's what Aje means. They can manipulate and change your reality. In fact, when somebody asked me one day, I said, when they do all these orike and they tell you the one Japan, one you said?
I said, careful there.
I didn't hear you, man.
I said, careful there. We're using the word manipulators.
No. When I say it, when I use the word manipulators, I'm not using it in a bad way. I need to get my context, man. It's not about. It's negative.
There are other words you could use that are more positive.
Oh, okay. Anyways. Oh, okay. All right. Correct me. Type it chat. But I'm sure you get the context of what I'm trying to say. What I'm just trying to bring down here is that if you look, okay, yeah, thank you. Women are wise. Thank you for using that. Yeah, they are wise. Thank you for the word. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is that, if you look at most of the great men in the world, they do a lot of things to satisfy a woman. But when people look at it as if it's just women are nothing, these women have a way to push an ideology to you. And I'm not saying it in negative terms this way. I'm telling you that they are able to use that to change the reality. And that's why some of the things you can see as the attribute of what we call Ajeh. Now, what I was saying earlier about me understanding the core principles of good and bad as a Yoruba man is that if we look at recent history, let me use the example of Afonja. Let me use the example of what's this other competitor of Awolowo? Hey, what's the name of this guy? Akintola.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
No,
okay.
Akintola. It's Akintola I want to mention. Akintola and Awolowo. A lot of people said a lot of things about Akintola. Kes, can you allow Kes, please? You are unmuted and there's a noise there. Thank you. So, if you look at the history they told us in those times about Akintola and Awolowo, you hear things like, as if Akintola was totally a bad person. I used to believe that too. Until when I studied further, I now realized that Akintola was also a conservative as Awolowo. It's just that the path they took are different. So why would somebody make me want to hate an Akintola and just love Awolowo? I love Awolowo, but Awolowo has his own mistakes too. In fact, his alliance with Azikwe cost us a lot of things, which the time he could have used in furthering his own plans and agenda for Yoruba land, he could have done more instead of having to align with somebody like Azikwe. But Akintola wanted to align with the Fulani. What I understand about those two people at that point in time, that they were actually navigating the waters of Nigerian politics as it is as at that time. Today we have the same thing. We have a Tinubu, we have another Yoruba man who is antagonistic of the same Tinubu. If we look at it clearly, they might not be actually being bad to Yoruba land entirely. They might have just have their different agenda. I'm just saying that not because I know the nitty-gritty of that. But come to think of it, the Yoruba society, one of the most beautiful things about us and why it is baffling me today that many of our people, when we review this, is all the things you have been saying Olaiwola today and some of your skits that I see here or contents that I see that you post, what baffles me is that when you say all these things or people like us tell these things, I don't see why people cannot go and fact check these things and see how true these things may be, because I'm trying not to repeat some of the things I've had already been spoken on stage. But one of the major damages, and I always repeat it anywhere I am, the greatest damage colonization has done to anybody is taking away our language. That is exactly how they got us, because like when I went to school, I am made to understand that Yoruba was a vernacular, a low-class language. And in school, you pass or you fail Yoruba, you don't graduate to the next class. So in your thoughts, you're already asking yourself, kini mo fẹ́ dà with this Yoruba? But you don't understand that Yoruba defines your worldview. It defines how you see the world. When a white man says, I am broke, me, I say, oh, olowo mi. Indirectly, codedly, all Yoruba sons and daughters already know that means this person is broke. But indirectly, though is an idiom, if you understand what I mean, that I am broke, but e go plenty, that kind of thing. So now, if you look at this part of the damage, when I said it's a continuous loop, when I started, look at the education system we have, and I'm trying to remember this because Olairo mentioned about history in school. Many of our children, there's a song I was listening to recently, for example. In that song, they were saying, Moremi, Kinikon Ajasoro, Kinikon, I just had Lamurudu somewhere. I was like, Talon Jebe, who is Lamurudu? And that story now, they are making it as if it's part of our history. It is a very, very funny thing. It is a very, very, let me not say it's funny. It's abusive to our minds, because if you look at it, even Lamurudu does not have an etymology that relates to Yoruba land. If anybody can help me define it, I would know. But I can easily understand what Moremi means. Moremi means Omowumi. It means Omotoremewa. If you hear things like Adeyinka, you know what it means. Even when you hear names like Fijabi, you know what it means. Abeke, Anike, and Ko, and so. But what is Lamurudu? I don't know. To an extent that many people believe that, is it Oduduwa? Oduduwa came from Mecca or whatever the case may be. But you don't know that internally, the people we have allowed as alejo that have become part of us have started changing our history internally, one way or the other, to destroy our mindset. But many of our people don't know. That's why we tell them about this religion and all those things. Like I was telling somebody in the chat, but I understand where the person is coming from. When the person was asking what does Ayoma, what religion does she believe in, I was stating there that she doesn't have to believe in anything, because if many people understand what it means to say I am a believer, they would actually stop saying that. Because to believe means something is not true, but you need to make it true. It's just like me saying I believe I can fly, I believe I will be successful. You are not successful yet. You want to make yourself successful. That's why you said you believe. Onigbagbo, whatever the case, whatever they call it. But if I use the tone of reality of what I am, I know I am broke, but I can tell myself or do an worry and say, Momala, Mudema Shishe or Lami. It means I'm already preparing my mindset to work for it. I'm not going to do a belief thing, because I can't believe I'm going to be healed when I'm sick. I'm sick, I need to seek for healing. I can't just say I believe I am healed. All those things are just, so I don't know, but I don't believe in such a thing. So the nitty-gritty of what is affecting us is that when people are being detached from their own history, they become nobody. They become an empty basket that anybody can dump anything into. And that's what is happening to our people today. Because they question what they do not question in the foreign ideologies that are given to them. Many of them believe a Jesus exists, but they don't believe an Oduduwa exists, an Obatala exists, and so on and so forth exists. But they believe the mythology and ideology of another world. These are the many things that is affecting our people. But my profound solution that I keep telling everybody now is that it's never too late. When I came in, I heard you guys say forgive your parents and all those things, and also forgive yourself. There's a reason why I said forgive yourself, because I forgave myself. Because at some point in my life, okay, let me put it this way, so I won't run too long and I'll stop here. While growing up, like I said, I hated Yoruba. One of the reasons I hated Yoruba was because in school I was being beaten. I was being beaten for speaking Yoruba. So that made me hate the language. All my exams, I got F9. So while growing up that, I now became awoken to a lot of things. I now had to go and start learning Yoruba again so that I can extend it to my children. A lot of people who know me know what I'm saying. I teach my child Yoruba at home. I do homeschooling. I'm proud of the level at which I could do it to an extent. So now, if you forgive yourself, you understand what you are going for, and you'll be able to teach your children and extend to another generation our reality, our history, and who we are. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but let me land here for now. Thank you.
To say that they didn't take our language immediately, because language is not easy to learn that fast. They took our spirituality first. Before we even knew they were enemies, they came in and told our ancestors, well, during, trade exchanges and this visit exchanges, well, not exchanges, because our ancestors really didn't go to them. They were the ones who came. And our ancestors, being the hospitable people that we are, listened to their guests, right? And they told our ancestors that, oh, this Olodumare that you're worshipping, who is he? Oh, he's the creator of, this, everything we know, this earth. Oh, yeah? Then you must be talking about God. See? It's the same God that we too worship. So they took our spirituality first, right? Then they introduced their Satan. But if you know the system of manipulation, you will know that they wouldn't immediately have told their ancestors that their Satan is the same thing as Eshu. They would not have said that. That would have crept in gradually with Ajayi Crowther. Right? They and our ancestors would have interpreted their Satan as Ajobi. But when Ajayi Crowther interpreted the Bible, he didn't put it as Ajogun, he put it as Ishu. It was a deliberate attempt to rob our ancestors of their spirituality. So once they take your spirituality away from you and you start rejecting your own and you start praying to their own gods, yes, I say gods with my full chest. You can fact check me anytime, right? Because the 3 in 1, that's bullshit. That's three in three. It's just three gods. And even before before the first of the three, there were others that they believed in. Anyway, so they took the spirituality and our ancestors listened to them and thought that these people that have come all this way, that seemed seemingly wealthy, well-to-do, living a good life, must really, really know the way to Olodumare better than them. And they fell for it. So once you leave your own ancestral spirituality, see, we don't proselytize, right? No traditional spirituality proselytizes. It's only the Abrahamics that proselytize, that want you to leave your spirituality and come to theirs. It's only them, right? So because we don't proselytize, we didn't think anything of it. Oh, it's the same Olodumare, and our ancestors accepted it, and then they started letting go of their egunguns and their orishas and whatnot, believing that they're still paying homage to Olodumare. And that's how it started. The language came later. Because at the beginning, they were using interpreters. They were using sign language and, trying to understand each other. If you watch some of these movies about, if you watch King Chaka Zulu, you see how it was at first with the interpreters and everything. So, yeah. Once you let go of your spirituality, what is left? That's why I say it's not everybody that speaks Yoruba that's Yoruba. What makes you a Yoruba is your spirituality, really. And a Oyibo man can speak better Yoruba than you. And an Oyibo man can wear Ankara more than you. An Oyibo man likes egusi. Some of you don't even like egusi. So if they already do all those things, should they now be called Yoruba? What truly makes you Yoruba is your spirituality. Somebody asked what religion I practice. I said, I'm a product of my ancestors, right? So let me ask you, is history the same thing as spirituality? Or is history the same thing as religion?
Well, not at all. Not at all.
Exactly. So if history is not the same thing as religion, and I'm a product of my ancestors, why are you asking me what religion I practice? Right? My ancestors are my history. They're my history. Their blood runs through my vein. They're my essence. Right? So that's not, if you ask me, a religion. That's who I am, essentially. Yoruba. If you don't identify with them, how dare you call yourself a Yoruba when you believe that your ancestors, Adam and Eve, created 6,000 years ago? And this is why I call all Abrahamics our half-brothers and sisters. They are prodigal sons and daughters. And last Shea Dumari, they'll all come back home someday. Because they'll realize all the lies they've been told. They'll realize all the lies that they've been told. Even Oyibo people are going back to their ancestral spirituality because even they are realizing all the bull crap they've been taught. Because they all had ancestral spiritualities before the Romans came on the scene, right? They had it. Norse, they had. Go do your research, please. Let me not be lecturing here.
Please, Olaiwo, can I educate you just a second, please? There are some things I may not want to. I understand we are speaking on the same interest. Let me put it that way. So the notion I just want to correct here. When I said our language, I'm just using the context of English to say it. Yorùbá máa ń sọ ọ̀kan wọn ní èdè ẹni ní ìdánimọ̀ ẹni. Let me break it down. Èdè by Jai Crowder that standardized our language, made a lot of errors on that. Ede is not language. I said it before on Olaiwola's program the last time I was here. Ede, when I said they took that away, I know what I'm saying. Ede is what connects us together. And your spirituality is part of it. The words you speak, you call language in English dictionary, because language in English means what you communicate with through words or whatever. That's why even in English they have to do things like love language, sign language, all those things. But in Yoruba, ede means what binds you together. It comes from the root word de, to bind, to tie, to connect. That's what it means. So ede necessarily does not mean this English I'm speaking now or Yoruba. That's why even if everybody is speaking Yoruba in the world right now, it may not necessarily be the Ede. Because in Nigeria right now, what connects me with an Ekiti person as I'm a Remo person is a shared culture, ideology, philosophy, and the same source, Ile-Ife, one way or the other. But now, an Igbo man, we don't share a shared Ede in a very large extent. We might have some ideology based on everything that when it has to do with Africa. So reading the book called Decolonization, what is the Decolonization of the Mind Through the Heart of Literature by Oguge Wationgo, you get what I'm saying. Because in your AD is embedded, like I said, the memory of your society, your history, your finance, your politics, your community service, everything that makes you. So when they came, like you said, that they took our spirituality before the effort of actually turning you away from your spirituality, they had to make sure that you feel less of who you are. That is the only way they could get to you, and some internal politicking that we could expand in other times to discuss. Internal politicking, because I watched this, is it Queen Zanga or whatever, that she had to accept Christianity. Not because she wanted to.
Njinga.
You said?
Queen Njinga of
Njinga, thank you.
yeah,
If you
in
look at,
Dongoland.
thank you very much. If you have watched the movie, you see that when she accepted Christianity from the Portuguese, it was not by sheer will or even domination, actually. It was because she had to sacrifice herself. She didn't allow her people to accept it. She accepted it first because she needed her people to survive. Because at that point in time, she had no power. She had no ally to fight against the Portuguese. If I'm right, Nasa Escobar, I guess you watched the movie.
Yeah.
So now, if you look at that process, what I'm trying to express, I'm not saying you are not right, Madam Ironman. What I'm saying is that when I said language, I used the context of English to define that. But tá a bá sọ lédè Yorùbá, àṣìsọkọ ni pé wọ́n sọ wípé èdè ẹni ni ìdánimọ̀ ẹni. Your language is your identity. So if that is taken away from you, yes, you accept everything they bring to you. Is that their own whitewashed spiritualism, their whitewashed history, their whitewashed everything, and so on and so forth? That is the pain, that is the major point of where they started conquering. And their education system they brought to us, if you notice, their education even till date is not teaching us anything that is relevant and good to help us within the African society. We are having brain drain instead of brain gain. That's why our children want to jackpot, give testimonies for being in Obodo Oyinbo for many sorts of reasons or whatever. I don't know if you get me. Thank you.
Can I just quickly chip in into that AD? And I think we've discussed about this AD here. Olayiwola can then testify to that. So I think so. One person is talking. I mean, Mrs. Madam Ironman is talking from the, spiritual side of things in terms of your thoughts. And for me, I think I kind of lean towards her because fundamentally, everything we see in existence is thoughts. And when you say AD, AD, which means to tie, I would say it is to tie down your thoughts, to pen down your thoughts. That is what AD is. So the thought is the fundamental thing. Because if you see now in Lagos, we all speak Yoruba. I grew up in Lagos, you grew up in Lagos, we spoke Yoruba, but Yoruba has never liberated us. So it is the Yoruba centricness the philosophy of the Yoruba, the spiritual framework of the Yoruba that is meant to educate us, that will make us to see through that worldview you talked about. Because so many people can, the itself is just like, it's part of the tool, which is the culture to express your thoughts. And also, you have your dressing as well, you have the food you eat and all that. Those are just cultural.
Máa rí wò tán ká lè máa rí ẹ̀kọ́ kọ́, ká lè máa rí bó ṣe ń lọ láàárín àwùjọ wa. Òun la ṣe ń ṣe ní short one. A tún gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ní short one jù báyìí lọ kó lè bá yé wa ni. Àwọn tán dẹ̀ ní kí n má sọ̀rọ̀, mi ò lè ṣe kí n má sọ̀rọ̀ please. Mi ò lè ṣe kí n má sọ̀rọ̀. Pé mo rí comment kan, ẹ bá lọ wo ibi tí mo gbé fọ́tò Jamiu Adégúnwà tí mo gbé sí last one tí mo ṣe. Onítọ̀hún yẹn fi comment tó wà ridiculous, ó fi sílẹ̀ ń bẹ̀. Bọ̀ mo ṣe àforíjì. Ó máa ti tó bí ẹ̀ẹ̀mejì ń sìn, bọ̀ tó bá jẹ́ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta, bóyá màá gbé orúkọ onítọ̀hún jáde. Yes, because ó ní kí n stop láti ṣe nonsense yìí, kí n go straight to the point, kí n stop láti máa sọ nonsense, kí n go straight to the point. You can imagine. Láì má sùn láì má wò, kí n tó gbàjọ ká tó kó gbogbo ẹ̀jọ. Àbúrò pé ìkúnlé mi lọ ti ṣe gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe yìí. Èmi náà ń wá kákàkiri ni, mò ń jókòó ni, kí n tó edit, kí n tó ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀. Ṣé ẹ rò pé nǹkan kékeré ni? Tó bá rí ẹni tó wà lórí YouTube, béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn pé èló ló ń san fún wọn lórí YouTube. Àwa tá a mọ̀ èèyàn láti bú, tá a dẹ̀ mọ̀rọ̀ láti pa, èló gangan ló ń san. Oye tó ń san lórí YouTube, mo fi Elédùmarè mo fi búra sí. ×9 làwa máa fi kún láti ná sí orílẹ̀-èdè wa ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Nídìí kan sídìí kejì, àwọn tó mọ̀ kéèyàn kan wá dé kó wá máa sọ wípé go straight to the. Ìwọ kọ́ ló fún mi ní platform mi náà. Èyí tó wù mí láti ṣe fún mi òun ni mò ń ṣe yìí. Kódà gan tí n bá rí tọ́rọ́kọ́bọ̀ ń bẹ̀ gan, tí n bá wá ná sẹ́nu mi, kò lè wọ́n mí torí pé mo ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ̀ ni. Ẹ̀yin tí ò bá yé, because lójú àwọn ẹlòmíì bí ìgbà tó jẹ́ wípé láàárín oṣù kan gan pàápàá gan, ẹ máa gba 1 million, ẹ máa gba 5,000. Àwọn tó ń gbà o, but èmi ò gbà. Àwọn tó bá máa gbà, àwọn tó mèpè ṣe, àwọn tó mọ̀rọ̀ pa, àwọn tó jẹ́ wípé at the end of the day máa rí wípé àwọn ni wọ́n ń pa irú owó yẹn. Bọ̀ irú àwa ẹ béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn ẹlòmíì torí pé nǹkan tó wù wá láti ṣe ni, tó dẹ̀ ń fún wa ní happiness. Àwa kan ni mò ń sọ. But it's not because of the money. But tí owó náà bá jáde ń bẹ̀, a dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Elédùmarè. Ibi téèyàn bá ti ń ṣe ibẹ̀ ló ti ń jẹ. Bọ̀kẹ́ wá máa rí wa bí ìgbà tó jẹ́ wípé àìmáníṣẹ́ ló ń jẹ́ ká ṣe lé. No, a níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́. A dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Elédùmarè. Mi ò yó, bọ̀ ebi ò pa mí. A dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá mi farabalẹ̀, tẹ́ bá mi fi gbọ́ àlàyé tí mo ṣe yìí. Mo rò pé gbogbo wa láti wò tán, gbogbo wa láti rí. Ojú wo lẹ fi wò, báwo lẹ ṣe gbọ́ sí, báwo ló ṣe lọ lọ́dọ̀ títí yín. Mo mọ̀ wípé a máa rí nǹkan bíi méjì mẹ́ta, a máa rí dìmú nínú ìtàtúndé wa lọ́jọ́ títí òní. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti bá wa tẹ like, tẹ́ tí wò tán. Mo dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń bá wa farada bó ṣe gùn tàbí bó ṣe kéré sí. Lágbára lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè, ojú òní ti wà. Nílò ń gbé sọnù bí ò ṣe bí ọmọ. Tẹ́yin náà bá ń bá wa fi comment sílẹ̀, tẹ́ ń bá wa share, tẹ́ ń bá wa tẹ like yẹn, ìwúrí ló máa jẹ́ fún wa láti tẹra mọ́ àwọn iṣẹ́ yẹn. Torí iṣẹ́ ni. Kó tó lọ síbí lọ sọ́hùn, wo fídíò, wo kí làwọn tó wà lórí péjì mi, kí ló lè like, kí ló lè dùn wá nínú sáà tá a wà nínú èyí. Iṣẹ́ là ń ṣe, kò ń ṣeré rárá. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lè kí wa, ẹ má tún wá bú wa. Orí wa ò ní dàrú. Ẹlẹ́dàá wa ò ní gbàbọ̀dẹ̀. Mo kí wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé a kú bójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí. God bless you. Ire o, one love. Bye for now.